Hey, everybody, welcome to the Sally Allen podcast. As you know, I say this every time and I will say it every time. This is a platform for people to share their stories of resilience. And the reason why is to encourage others and let them know that, you know what, sometimes some of the things we go through, we feel like it's hard and we're the only one going through these things. And it's nice to know that we're not alone and and other people can relate to what we're going through. Today, I have a treat for everyone. I have Mrs. Ashley Tesoro, and she is Mrs. Nevada Universe. And I'm so excited to have her because she has such a powerful story to share with us today and some wisdom nuggets and takeaway. So, Ashley, welcome to our podcast. So thrilled to have you here.
I know. I'm glad that we finally connected. I know we've been trying to do this for so long, so it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, I can't imagine the schedule of Mrs. Nevada Universe. I cannot imagine what your schedule like. You're a mom and you do so many other things. So, yeah, I appreciate the time you're giving me today.
Oh, no, it's amazing. Yes, I'm a mommy of 3 and a wife. And yes, I do quite a bit, but this is amazing. I'm so glad to just take some time and chat. Talk.
Yeah. So I have to confess, one of the things I did is I went on Wikipedia and I did a little snoop on you.
Okay.
And when I did that, it was you were a mommy of 2. So how old is your youngest?
Okay, so I'm now a mommy of 3, and my littlest baby is Valentina, and she's actually not so much a baby anymore. She's going to be 4 in a couple of months. So February 14th, she's actually my Valentine's Day baby. So yeah, she's getting big. But yes, I'm a mommy of 3 now.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You don't look like a mommy of 3.
Oh,
So
thanks.
so tell us, I know you're sharing a little bit of your story with us today. So what are you sharing with us today? Which parts of your story?
So, I just am so impressed with your podcast and what you were sharing just about resilience. Everybody that has a platform in life that has achieved something great, we've walked through something. So, it doesn't drop out of the sky. We don't get it without, hard work, without some opposition, jealousy. I mean, there's just so many things that go on in the world, right? And we have to persevere and press through. So I definitely am, I started my career as a really young girl in Hollywood. I had my first audition in Hollywood at age 7, got my first commercial, very shortly after that, and just started working regularly in Hollywood. So I've definitely been a woman, a girl, and now a woman that's been in, the spotlight for many years. Me being in my late 30s now, it's been a lot of years in the spotlight, and that comes with a lot of scrutiny and also a lot of praise. And I think I'm just thankful to be here and to be level-headed and to know who I am and to use my platform to encourage and help other people. And that's really every triumph for me is really just about taking that as a personal accomplishment and then translating that into how can I then use that to help somebody else.
Yeah. How did that impact your childhood? Because you see the work that you do, the modeling and commercials, and then you were in some of the TV shows. I know it takes a lot of work and dedication, but did it take away from your childhood?
So I'm asked that quite a bit, and I definitely wouldn't change my childhood for anything. So of course, with every accomplishment and victory, you gain something and you also give something up. Yeah. So the reward outweighed what I had to give up. But of course, I wasn't going to school regularly. I was doing set school. So of course, I have a college degree and I graduated, but it wasn't regular traditional school. I didn't get to go to prom, but I got to go to the Emmys. Yeah. There's so many different things that I didn't experience as a child, but there's so many things that I got in return. And I think that, my parents did a good job of trying to give me experiences as well. There were times when I would skip an audition, when I would, on my time off, I was on The Bold and the Beautiful, which is a soap opera when I was very young. And during my time off, we would go on vacation and I'd get to do just regular things.
Yeah.
Go to the movies, go to the mall with my friends. So, those things I definitely experienced, but I was very mature at a young age. I worked, I was on the set, I was going to school. I was a career child. I had a career. But my mother always told me that I was very mature from a very young age. So I think it just came naturally for me to be living in this adult world. And acting and doing all these things that I loved. And I think that all those amazing experiences formed and fashioned me into the woman I am today. So I definitely would say that I would do it all over again, the same way.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. Do it because I think one of the things you say, it seems like you had a pretty good childhood and you had a pretty level head on your shoulders, but you won't change it for anything. It's the same with people who's gone through a lot of hardships in life. You would hear them say, me for example, I won't change it for anything because I wouldn't have been who I am today, not even sitting in front of this podcast, if it wasn't for my past.
Absolutely. And I went through a lot of bullying as a child because I was on TV and I had, I guess, what other kids consider to be privileged. But with that came a lot of work. I didn't, like I said, I would go on tons of auditions per week. And then within lots of auditions, you get one because, people only see you on TV. They don't see like the 100 auditions that you didn't get the role.
Right.
So I was putting in a lot of effort and a lot of work. I think sometimes though people are jealous of what they want, of what you have, what they want, what you have. And they may not have that same gifting, but there's a gifting that they do have, a talent they have that they can develop and they can become just as successful in their own right. Mm-hmm. But people sometimes don't want to look at the effort and the work it takes. They just go, oh, well, I want that. They're so lucky. But really luck is such an interesting word because I think that anybody that has anything of value in life, whether it be a great marriage, financial success, entertainment success, business success, and even success in motherhood and in the home, they're working for that. You work to be a good mother. You work to have your finances proper. You work for these opportunities.
Right.
And really what my message is one of let's put in the work. Let's uplift each other. Let's, be kind to one another and you will reap what you sow. If you put out good and you support somebody else in their good times, eventually you'll crawl out of your bad because we all go through those bad times and you'll find your meadow and your field of flowers and what you're supposed to have in life. So I really believe in reaping and sowing and being a good person and that you can get out what you put in. Sometimes it just takes time.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would say to me, I'm new to podcasting. Hey, I've recorded my 30th episode, but they would say, hey, I want to start a podcast. Because I don't think they realize it's a lot of work that goes into doing this. It's not just I sit with you and it's over. Like I got to go research you to be respectful to who you are, right?
Yes.
And your career. So I do that. But then after we record, there's so much work to go into it, including finding people to get on the podcast. And once I explain it to them, they're like, oh, I didn't realize. I just like, what did you think it was going to be? So the other thing is like my book, a lot of people are like, I want to write a book. What do? I'm like, you start writing. Mm-hmm. It took me 2 years. Yeah. If you want to write a book, you have to start writing. Yeah. Well, where do I start? You just start writing. Yeah. So I agree with you on that aspect that I think people see the outcomes, but they don't see what goes behind to create those outcomes.
Yes. I've been, I started my first pageant when I did my first pageant at 6 years old. Yeah. So essentially for 33 years, I've been working in front of the camera, on stage, entertainment, modeling, movies, commercials. My husband and I have Life is for Living TV that we host, which is a web series, a Christian web series, faith-based family and ministry show. And, I think that, again, it's about building. You have to keep building. I think a lot of times today in our society, everything's quick. We have fast food, we have Instagram, everything it's very quick, accessible. We want that quick thrill. But things that we achieve that are deep and rooted deep are things we do over time and we keep building over time. I've been married and have a great marriage. I've been married for 21 years. I just celebrated 21. Thank you. So, I married when I was really young and a lot of people were, oh, why do you, want to get married so young? But I knew, this is the man I love and I want to build with him over time. So I've been building my marriage for a long time. I've been building my career for a long time. These are things that, my ministry, I've been doing ministry work with my husband. We have a nonprofit organization and we do outreach and try to encourage people and help people, with basic necessities, food and clothing and supplies and things that they have need of. So we do a lot of outreach. And again, we've been doing that together. My husband and I have been doing that together for 21 years since we've been married. So everything is about building and putting in the work and perseverance. And that's what I'm all about. That's, my brand is all about faith and beauty and hard work and perseverance and just being the total package of developing yourself as a person, and just being your authentic self.
Yeah.
You know, I think that comparison is a very dangerous trap. When we compare, it doesn't mean that we can't look as to other people as an example or go, oh, wow, I want to aspire to be like them or do what they're doing, or, oh, isn't that so neat? Or even sometimes mimiking somebody until you can kind of find your own groove. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But comparing and kind of getting into that rut is it's a rabbit hole. It's like something you can go very dark, because you have to be you're the only one of you. So you have to be authentic and just be who you are. And I think that that's why my brand works and why people relate to me, because they see me just being myself.
Yeah.
You know, even being a woman of faith, I don't try to project anything. I'm not trying to project perfection or, oh, I'm the perfect woman. I love God. I have Jesus in my heart.
Yeah.
I'm also a model. I wear a bathing suit. I'm a married woman. You know, I'm a mom.
You're
I
a
have
mom.
good days and bad days. And thank God I have God in my life, because I
Yes.
don't think I would make it through otherwise. Like, I'm glad that I believe in a higher power, because that gives me hope and strength. So just be authentic. You know, that would be my message to everybody. Just be who you are and tap into that. That's where you find your true freedom.
Yeah, there's so much to your story. As you can see, I'm scribbling words because I want to pay attention to you. So, one thing, your brand is what attracted me to invite you here, because of all the things you just shared.
Yes.
Right? You're here. I am a model. I'm a mom. I love Jesus, and I'm not ashamed to put it out there. And that's what I've been following you, and that's what, like, I'm gonna go after her if it takes a year.
I'm sorry, it's been so crazy.
No, don't be sorry. I think God's timing is perfect timing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I totally believe that. So don't be sorry about that. So you're right. You have a great branding, and I love it.
Thank you.
So the TV show, The Outreach, I want to talk about that, but I want to go back. I didn't want to interrupt you when you were speaking. You said you had some challenges as, you know, you were building your career and you had some bullyism. Talk to us a little bit about that for anybody who's going through that right now. If there's a little girl, even a grown model, you know, and they're working through that career and they're having these challenges and bullyism, how do you deal with that? What advice would you give?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of rejection. So when you're, you know, in anything in life, you know, whether it be a job interview or Hollywood, but, you know, especially Hollywood can be very cruel. There's a lot of rejection. So you have to know that you're okay, because you could literally go into an audition and they just will break you apart, you know. And it's not about you. It's about what they are really looking for that role, but they don't care your age. They care about getting the right person and making the money on the project. And so they will just break it down and go, no, the hair's not right. This isn't right. That's not right. I mean, I remember one time I was maybe 11 or 12 and I went on an audition, and the director was like, oh, she's great, but you know, next time she needs to really wear a padded bra. For this role, we need a girl to look a little bit more mature. And I'm like 11. So of course that built a little bit of an insecurity in me when I was younger. But again, at 11, you're not supposed to worry about that. But again, those are things that happen in Hollywood. And then coming from my peers, it was just a lot of, oh, you're a wannabe. You just want to be, you know, a Hollywood actor so bad. Oh, you know, when I first started. Then when I started booking jobs, all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, can we be friends? Oh, well, I thought I was just a wannabe that, you know, was just pathetic, that was just trying to do like what any other girl would want to do and be in Hollywood. But now that I've arrived, you want to be my friend.
Right.
You know, people just can say mean things.
Right.
Kids can be immature and cruel. We know that bullying is just so dominant in our society now, especially with social media. I think, thank God, when I was, you know, going through my time as a teenager, there wasn't really social media. We just were getting into like websites. You know, I remember I got my first website and was just so excited, you know, in acting, but it wasn't social media with Facebook and Instagram when I was a kid. So, you know, I had to really overcome just the scrutiny of Hollywood and then overcome the bullying. And then also too, you have people that love you and they praise you, and you have to overcome that also, because just as much as the bullying can get to your spirit, so can the overpraise, because all of a sudden they put you on a pedestal, you know, and people, oh, you're so important, and they dote on you. And, you know, when I booked the TV shows I did, and all of a sudden they're doting on you. So you have really cruel and mean people and mean kids, and then you have everyone doting on you. And so it's like this very weird dynamic of extremes. And you just have to know yourself and just go, I'm going to keep a level head with all the attention and praise, and I'm also going to keep myself confident and secure in all of the scrutiny. So it's a very interesting extreme.
Yeah. And I can't imagine how hard it is because your whole self-image is tied to a career, a modeling career or an acting career. It's how you look, it's how you act, it's how you walk, it's how you talk, right? So it can be very devastating. But that being said, how did you find your own identity? Because you sound very confident and it seems like you had a way to work through this. So how did you find your identity to be comfortable with who you are and not care, okay, if the fans love or hate me, I know who I am?
Yes. So, and that's an interesting point because I think even today, one thing that makes me successful is I don't care what people think. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I don't want, I carry myself well. I'm kind to people. I don't mean, oh, I just do what I want. I don't care what they think. I mean, I'm going to be me.
Right.
And then if you like my brand and you like me, great. And if you don't, you don't.
Right.
I just want to be authentic and be real. And from a young age, I've grown into that maturity over time, but I always had the seed in my heart of it. So as I've grown as a woman, that has strengthened in my life. But even as a young child, I was very kind of sassy and strong, and it was already built in my nature.
Okay.
And then the world tried to beat me down, you know, like I said, with the bullying and the scrutiny and all these things. But I just kept going back to my core, and my core is, I know who I am. I am going to be something great. I am great inside. God loves me. My parents love me, and I was blessed to have parents that really believed in me, which I think that plays a huge role.
Yeah.
When you have parents that believe in you, I think that makes a difference. And then they put me in church. So I grew up in going to church and to Christian schools. And so I think that it was a good balance for me because I would be going to the sets and doing auditions and all these things. At the same time, on Sunday, I had to be in church. I would sing in church. I would volunteer at church. And so I think it really built that in me too, that balance, and just knowing, okay, if one day it all goes away, as a person, I'm still okay. God still loves me. I still have parents that love me. I love myself.
Yeah.
And of course, I went through sadness and insecurities as a child. You go through those things. But then as I grew older and grew in my faith, and I met my husband, which made a really big difference. When I was 18, he was 23, and I walked into his Bible study. And honestly, that really changed my life because he was a really incredible young man. And at first, you know, we were just friends, and I would go to his Bible study and his prayer groups, and then it grew into love. And within 8 months, we were married.
Wow.
So I got married very young, which for some people that sounds like a bad thing or scary. They would go, oh no, that's not good. That's too young. But actually for me, it was a good thing because I found a man that loved me, that made me his world, and gave me wings to fly even greater, and told me that I was great, and that, you know, even in marriage, he wanted me to still fly on my own too and do what I wanted to do and blossom. And so it gave me the security of knowing that I didn't have to go into the dating world and be beat up by this guy or that guy, you know, emotionally, that maybe it worked or didn't. You know, I think that as people, and more people we date, the more experiences we have, it could be good, and it could also be really devastating to our spirit. And I didn't endure that. I just found a great guy, got married, and started building my life with him. And I think that made a big difference for me as well. Because I think from my experience, I avoided the pitfalls of dating for many years and kind of going through heartbreaks. And so it was just a unique story for me that it panned out and it worked. I don't recommend marriage for 18 and 23 for everybody, but it worked for me. It spared my feelings, and it was good. It was positive.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, we have to do what works for us, and yours, just everything worked together for the good.
Yes, it was just meant to be.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be, and that's how it panned out.
And I think we have choices in life, so I think it was meant to be, and I chose it. We could have chose to not be with each other. I could have said, oh, I'm so young, and I've got all these experiences I want to have without marriage or without whatever. So I think, and that's fine for people that's what they feel their path is. So I think in life we're presented with choices, and I think that God gives us divine appointments and opportunities, and then we have the power of choice because God doesn't force his choices or his will on us.
Yeah.
As human beings, we've been given the right to have freedom.
Yeah.
And so we have to make choices. So life is about choices. What do you want your life to be a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line? And you have to make choices compatible with what your hope is for your future.
Yeah.
So many people make bad decisions and then they blame God or blame somebody else. And it's like, well, we all have hardships and things we have to work through, and we all have choices.
Right. Yeah.
And power of choice is, it's real. It's a big thing.
Right. Right. And I think it's such a cop out to blame other people and not see the choices that you have in front of you. You can go right or you can go left, and that would change your life astronomically.
Oh, completely.
You have a choice and you can
Completely.
choose. But one of the things I want to ask, what kept you, because you've had massive success, and I wrote it all down on my screen, went blank, but you've had massive success. How did you stay humble throughout all your success? Because that's all I see on your social, your brand, you're very humble also. And how did you stay humble?
Well, first of all, thank you. It's so sweet. And secondly, I just feel that nothing good comes from arrogance or pride. I believe that when we get arrogant and prideful, it's really quick to fall and to stumble. And when we keep our head level-headed and we keep a good heart and we're a good person, we're able to navigate our life so much better. People that kind of get their head up in the clouds and they're arrogant and they're mean to other people, eventually they lose things. They lose their relationship with their spouse, with their kids. They lose their finances. They lose opportunities. We're not young, beautiful, and all this forever.
Right.
It's like, it's a gift.
Yes.
If you've been given beauty, it's a gift from God. If you've been given success, it's a gift from God. If you've been given a talent, it's a gift from God. And we are responsible to use those gifts accordingly. And I think that, growing up in church, I think that going through hardship humbled me too, because when you are bullied, some people become bullies and then other people go, ooh, that hurts. I don't want to be that to somebody else. I want to uplift people. So when I went through bullying and hard times, I thought, wow, I really want to uplift people. I really want to help them. I don't ever want anyone to feel the way I'm feeling right now. And so I think I'm grateful for the difficult circumstances and the hardships and different things I endured, because it did shape me and help me to be more humble. Some people, like I said, they get real arrogant and prideful and go, oh, well, I was treated this way and I'm going to make it. And when I do, I'm going to be like this. And but then they become what they hated and what hurt them.
Right.
It's kind of like parents, children that go through difficult time with parents and then they repeat it. It's like, well, you're becoming what you hated your parents did.
Yeah.
So I always had this thing in my mind. I want to grow and learn from people and experiences and become what I like about others in the world and not become what I don't.
Yeah.
And, I'm not perfect. I've had my moments.
We've all had our moments.
I can definitely bring up my shortcomings, but we'll stay positive.
You know what? No one's perfect.
No.
Yeah, and we'll never be perfect. But I like what you said, because it comes back to choice, that even with my past, I had a choice. I could become the people that were mean to me, or I can be different. And I made that choice too as a little girl, that I am not going to be like that. I'm going to be completely different.
Of course, yeah.
So I absolutely love that. So some of the things you talk about, I wrote down here your outreach program, and then you guys have a Christian TV show. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can come alongside you. How can we get access to your show and your outreach program? How can people come alongside?
Yes, so we have lifeisforliving.tv, and we do webisodes. My husband and I speak about faith and family and just experiences. We try to break down faith in the Bible, very simple for everybody of every, faith and ethnicity and age. Anybody can glean something from it.
Yeah.
We just started the Las Vegas Bible study. So we've opened up an outreach Bible study, which is amazing. We're doing once a month. We have a Tesoro Ministry Foundation, which is our charity organization, 501c3 nonprofit. You can find out more at tesoro.cc, or, people can always check out my Instagram and send a DM if they want to ask questions. We obviously receive public donations, and we use that to help other people. And we provide clothing and food and just basic necessities, and share faith and prayer with people. And so we just try to do good. And we've had our ministry charity for the last 21 years together. So, go to our websites, go to my Instagram, DM me. People can ask questions and find out more, and check out our show. We have a YouTube, Tesoro Entertainment YouTube, where we put all of the Life is for Livings on there. So Yeah, we're just
No,
doing our part.
Yes.
If we all do our part,
Yeah, the
can
world
make
would
a
be such
difference,
a better
right?
place. I love that you do that. You have a foundation, and thanks for sharing that. How are your children? Tell me a little bit. You have 4 children now, and
Three babies.
3 babies.
Yes. But you know what? Maybe 4, but right now 3.
Okay, 3 babies. 3 babies. Sorry about that. 3 babies.
okay.
How are you? It's being a career mom, a model, and all of that. What are some of the things you're teaching your children as they watch you grow and blossom as a model, and so many things that you do? How are your children being a part of that?
So I try to bring them to as many events as possible. I bring them, to my pageants if I can, if they're in town. I let them in on what I'm doing. They're very proud of me, and I use this to let them know that they can be anything they want to be. So, I try to balance because I want to spend as much time with them as I can. And obviously I'm trying to nurture their talents and help them grow. And so it's, we try to split that up, and everybody gets their time to shine in our family.
Yeah.
My husband, he's a martial artist and does entertainment stuff as well. And he's amazing. And the kids are amazing and dance and sing and all that. And I just bring them in on everything I can, public appearances they can go to. I have conversations with them about what I'm doing. We do photo shoots as a family. They get to be involved, and they know that, if mom can do it, I can do it. And, it's just a very good example. I try to be an example for them.
That is what you said there is so crucial. I don't think you even realized you glazed over it. Everyone gets a chance to shine.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Like, you're so intentional, you and your husband, to make sure, Anthony, right? Your husband,
Anthony, yes.
Making sure that all the kids get a chance to shine. And I love that because they know they're not ever going to be in anybody's shadow. They know what it is to shine.
Yes. I never want my kids to feel that they're in my shadow or my husband's shadow or in each other's shadow. We're all born to do something great.
Yes.
Even if it's not in front of the camera on stage. Greatness has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your gift and talent and doing something great with it. Whether you're behind a desk or you're in the home, there's moms that can cook, and they're doing all these activities with their kids, and they're like super moms. That's a gift and a talent, So I just want them to discover what that is for them, and do it well, and be good humans. And hopefully, through my example, my husband's example, they see that that's possible.
Yeah. No, that's amazing that, given your busy schedule and everything you do and who you are, that you focus on your kids like that. That's a true model of mom part of your life.
Thank you. I love them.
Yeah.
My kids are everything to me. I couldn't imagine not having all the time with them that I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get busy and I will go, okay, I need to dial it back because I miss, I want to have more time with the kids. And my husband's like, you do great. I'm like, I know, but I miss them, and they're going to be so big one day, and I'm going to be sad. And I just don't want to miss anything.
But it sounds like you're also very balanced. Like, I'm not hard on myself. I'm doing the best I can as a mom. And
yes. And I think that as moms, when we do things for ourselves too, we're happier. I feel really happy living. I think sometimes women that don't do anything for themselves, they don't carve out any time for hobby or anything. It's just husband, kids, clean, cook. They lose themselves sometimes.
They lose their identity.
Yes. And I'm not judging either way. I support women that want to do full career. I support women that want to do full in the home, and I support the dual, and I'm the dual. I'm home and career, and I support it all. I think women can do and be what they want to be. I just encourage women, though, not to get stuck in a rut. And that could happen even if they're a career, if it's just too much career. I know women where I've had to tell them, hey, I know you're a career woman, but take some time, go be with your kids, like let your hair down. And so it can go both ways. Don't get too stuck in the career. Don't get too stuck at home. I think life is about balance. And our society is driven off of extremes sometimes. And I think we're happiest as humans when we're balanced.
Yeah.
So I try to, give that example.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that. I have a lot to say about that, but for the sake of time, I'm going to ask you, what was your funnest, is funnest a word,
Yeah.
Travis?
I think it is.
So I just did, if it's not a word, then it's my word now. What was the funnest TV show or something that you've done and you've had a lot of fun, and then what's one that you absolutely hated and you couldn't stand?
Oh, okay. So Bold and the Beautiful was amazing. I just loved that experience. Bold and the Beautiful was a great experience. I was on that show for over 2 years, approaching 3 years. And I just loved the character. I loved the staff. I loved everything about it. Saved by the Bell was really fun. I did Saved by the Bell. I think, I was working with a little bit of a younger cast on that show. So there was some, like rivalries and jealousies and like competitiveness that I could have probably done without, some kind of like girl stuff that went on there that I could have probably done without, but it was still a good experience.
Right.
I can honestly say that I don't think there's anything that any show that I hated.
Right.
But I mean, I was very thankful for all of it. But yeah, some sets were nicer than others. So, but also too, okay, before we go, and I'm not trying to lead the interview, but before we go, I do want to let your viewers know to follow my journey because I'm running for Mrs. Universe in July at the Westgate in Vegas.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So I want everybody I'm really heavily into the beauty pageants now.
Yeah.
And I've been Mrs. Nevada 3 consecutive years in 3 different systems. I'm Mrs. Nevada Universe, as you mentioned, and I'm running for the big coveted title of Mrs. Universe. Yeah. And that's going to be in July. So I'm really excited. From women from this country and from different parts of the world are going to be competing, and it's going to be great.
So where's that event happening?
That'll be at the Westgate. So the Westgate in Las Vegas, on the Strip.
Yeah. Okay. And how can we support you?
Please support by just following my journey on my Instagram. And when we do voting and all that, I'll definitely let everybody know. Okay. And if there's anybody out there that wants to be a sponsor, I love acquiring sponsors. Pageants are very expensive, and I love to partner with brands that go, oh, we want to sponsor you and help you with this or that item that you need or what have you. And then I put my face to their brand, and I love collaborating. So if there's anybody out there that has a business or as an individual, they want to collaborate and do a sponsorship, I'd love to have them come onto my team. Okay. And Thank you lots of prayers and good vibes.
Prayers and good vibes.
Send me good energy.
So what's a takeaway for our audience today?
So takeaway is just be who you are. Just know that there's a God in heaven that loves you, that you're more than enough, that you have all the gifts and the love and the talent within you, that God made you great. And even if you haven't tapped into it, it's never too late. Yeah. And, you are unique and you're the only one of you. So rock it and be who you are, and give yourself permission to access those parts and to really figure out who you are, and then go out and live it and be you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I know you were watching the clock. I'm like, I don't care about the clock. I feel like we've only been talking for 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I feel like this was so good. But my takeaway is that the only way we survive this world is knowing our identity, knowing who we are, and not let everything and everyone sway us, because we get into that comparison trap when we don't know who we are, because we're comparing against this person and that person. But when we know what our identity is and who we are, only then we can move forward. I know your identity is in Christ, and so is mine.
Oh, great.
That's amazing. I know where my identity lies, and I don't let anybody sway me from who I am and what I want to do. Yes, do we fall in the comparison trap? But then I remind myself, come back to who you are, Sally. You know who you are.
Amen.
So that's my takeaway today. Thank you for listening to our show. Ashley, thank you so much for being here and sharing and being vulnerable. I love your story.
Thank you.
If you're listening, like, rate, review, and Trevor behind the desk, thank Travis. Yep. Travis behind the desk. Thank you so much, and thanks to Sticky Paw Studio.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.